So, welcome back to the Cinema Sessions. My name is Keith, and as always, I'm joined by
Seamus. Hello.
It's the 24th century. Sovereignty means nothing. The flow of information is controlled by billionaires and oligarchs who decide what is right, just, and wrong at a whim. Regular people in governments pitted against each other like pawns or lambs to the slaughter. Blackmail, redacted files, ICE, cold murdering in the streets. The spectre of World War III looms larger than ever. And that's just this week's news headlines. This week's film is Tomorrow Never Dies.
Who would have thought? Just a random entry in the James Bond series predicted.
They were onto something.
They may have had a crystal ball of some sort. Perhaps we'll touch on some of that later. But today we're talking about a James Bond film. If you're uninitiated for some reason, Tomorrow Never Dies is a James Bond film from 1997, directed by Roger Spottiswoode and written by Bruce Fairstein. Starring Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, alongside Jonathan Pryce, Michelle Yeoh, Terry Hatcher, and Joe Don Baker. The film is the 18th entry in the long-running James Bond series. The story follows Bond as he attempts to stop media mogul Elliot Carver, who plans to provoke a war between the United Kingdom and China, in order to boost his global news empire. The film has a 6.5 rating on IMDb with a Metacritic score of 52% and a user score of 6.7. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a critic score of 58% and an audience score of 53%. Tomorrow Never Dies was a major box office success, grossing approximately $333 million worldwide against a production budget of around $110 million. And
Jesus, that's a lot.
Yeah, they had a fair whack for this. And on a personal note, folks, for the purposes of this assignment, you can call me Brit. West Brit. It was a huge budget. I was surprised when I looked it up. Apparently, most of it was covered by.
What's his 97 about?
97, yeah. Most of it was covered by product placement.
Okay, yeah.
Whether that's true, I read this somewhere like it was covered by 100%, which I have my doubts of. But BMW got their money's worth out of the film. Anyway, yeah, it is a huge budget, but this was. Released in the States anyway, the same week as Titanic.
I was just thinking as well, you mentioned Greenland in the intro, and Greenland could be a wasteland if we don't get this episode out quick.
Yeah, we better be topical on this, before we get into some interesting areas to touch on, I remember this film does have a place for me because I remember specifically going to see it with my family and in the cinema. We all went, and then we went to the Planet Hollywood restaurant that used to be here in Dublin, and I got like a placemat. So the placemats were just pieces of paper, but like they had movie trivia on them and like an advertisement for this, and I had them on my wall for years. They're probably fucking gone because I couldn't find them, but for years I had stuff like that. Fond memories. Remember Planet Hollywood, guys? Those were the days, yeah.
They still exist. Like
they're still out there, but they used to be. It was a huge thing in the 90s, like you know, those big movie stars getting together. But they had the naked Sylvester Stallone from Demolition Man thing and all this, which I think that's still in one of them, or it was in all of them. I can't remember. But that, and I do remember as well, just to place this film or to talk about it. I got like a pamphlet or, like a little mini magazine when we went to the cinema to see something. And I swear on my life, this was in it and the Jackal, the fucking Bruce Willis thing. And I swear it wasn't that Titanic was an afterthought, but it was not the number one first film in that little pamphlet handout. So history has proved otherwise with that. But it was not like, it's no joke when you read, like it was not expected to do very well.
This?
Titanic, sorry, yeah. Whereas this was coming off of GoldenEye and all this. And now,
it's very interesting because this is one thing that I found after watching it and kind of paying a bit more attention to it. It's the first departure from the source material in Ian Fleming's. It's not based directly off a book.
Excuse me. Yeah, this is the first. Well, GoldenEye is at least named after it's the name of his place. Yeah. Whereas this Tomorrow, I actually think, and I think it kind of ties in a bit to the film. Tomorrow Never Dies makes no sense, but it's like that just sounds like a James Bond.
But you do
title,
understand that was a typo thing.
Yeah.
So what happened was it was meant to be Tomorrow Never Lies.
Yeah.
and somebody sent a fax or something wrong, and then some people went, "Tomorrow never dies." Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't
there's a
make
typo. Like,
it doesn't make any sense, and if you think about it, it doesn't really hang together. But it's a great title for a James Bond film, which I think kind of speaks to the film as a whole. We'll get into now. Before we talk about the film in specific, my intro kind of hinted at this. I've been accused by our fans, quote unquote, in the past. I wasn't even accused. I was outright called a West Brit. I want to tackle that right now.
Somebody thought it.
I want to tackle that right now and say, what's the
what's the issue?
Look,
we need protection in the oncoming war.
Yeah. Well, I think some people might like to hear is as Irish people, and I am a proud fucking Irishman. Like, for God's sake, guys. Even though I'm dressed like James Bond in Quantum of Solace, but what's your
the worst entry? Some would say.
Yeah, more than some. What's your take on James Bond? Because like let's to just look at it in bald terms here. He is a British secret agent. Look, and we're Irish.
If you're swinging back, yeah. Because I mean, even in my little thing at the start, if sovereignty means nothing in a James Bond film, like, do you know what I mean? But like James Bond, the creation of James Bond, all the way back to the novels, Ian Fleming, it's a post-imperial anxiety. We're still relevant. Look at how cool we are. Look at how much we affect the world type thing. Like, I mean, because you have to remember, the British pound up until 100 years ago was the currency, the reserve currency of the world. And then quickly after World War II, it switched to the dollar. So they were going through a lot. When James Bond was created, like in the 50s, to be, the old Rule Britannia and all, like that was dead. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, for people who may be fans of Fleming or that, he was a posh eating boy, born into wealth, an aristocracy type figure whose world was crumbling around him, and he wanted to create a character who would envisage the good old Rule Britannia kind of thought process of his father's generation, say. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I think it's all born from. Like, it's born from the post-imperial. Yeah,
well, the thing of, like, I think as well, like, because most people know it from the movies, that's where I know him from. I find it interesting that there's only ever been two, and I am open to correction, there's two Englishmen who've played him. There's a Scotsman, Sean Connery. George Lazenby is Australian. Roger Moore is English. We'll maybe come to Timothy Dalton's Welsh.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was like, he was
Pierce Brosnan's Irish. And then Daniel Craig is English. Now, to take it in reverse, I think there's always a tension in their choice of actors, except with Roger Moore, but I'll come to that. The tension with Daniel Craig, even though he is English, is I have a take on that, and I do like some of his movies. He does not seem comfortable with the James Bond character in general.
But they kind of made when it came to Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Because especially like towards the end of Pierce Brosnan's run, it just got fucking...
It did get very ridiculous.
It was like mental.
No, I like
but they really kind of... I hate to use the word, but kind of wanted to... not make it more realistic. They wanted to ground it. Which they did with the great effect.
My problem with some of it is, especially in the film I'm referencing with my outfit, Quantum of Solace, is there's moments in that where I'm like, people who admire this character or who like it, and it's not just like a good faith critique of it. There's a moment in that where there's a guy who's helping him out, and he just gets his body and like fucks him into a dumpster. And I'm like, only someone who really does have major issues with the character would have them do that. I found that kind of odd, and I think it kind of is why those films ultimately, in my opinion, disappeared up their own arse, like with the last two films. But there's a tension there, at least with like he's like battling with the character, and then Pierce Brosnan's fucking Irish. Now he was basically made genetically, I think, to play James Bond, but we'll come to that. Timothy Dalton, the Welsh thing, and again he's very serious, taking his own way. Roger Moore is
camp.
Yeah, very camp.
Must be the gayest straight man ever.
Which,
like, in terms of
he's
not in real
straight
life,
in a way,
but not in real. Yeah, he's so rigidly straight that he's gay.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Well, I actually do quite like Roger Moore. I think,
but I don't think it's him. I don't mean him personally. I just mean Roger Moore playing Bond.
Yeah,
plays it in such a way that it's like this man is clearly heavily closeted or something, like, do you know what I mean?
I have never noticed that. I'm going to rewatch all of them for that.
I know, I've always thought that. Like, I mean, obviously it's played, they really lean into the campness of it all, like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, big time. Well, he was
like, him and Moneypenny are definitely gay and straight female best friends, like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I know in the first two films there's bits where people say that's kind of a leftover from the Connery days, and Moore doesn't seem like, there's a bit where he's like, I'll break your arm if you don't do X, Y, and Z and all this, and he never seemed comfortable with that. He always was, from the second one on, I thought Roger Moore, he was already too old. And then by the fucking end of it, like, you're just like, Jesus Christ. Although there's some interesting stuff in the last one with how old he is and Christopher Walken. So Christopher Walken treats him as like, look at this fucking guy. He treats him like you treat your mother when she's asking you, how do you set up the Wi-Fi? That's Chris. And I find that kind of interesting. Lazenby
wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's the reason he only got one. Like,
I honestly, and people will now be.
What was his one on
Her
Her Majesty's Secret Service?
People will shirk at this because that was underrated for years. I actually think it's gone around now, and I actually find that one slightly overrated. As much as I like it, there's a lot of good stuff in it, but I find it slightly overrated.
I don't think he was great as a Bond, though, George Lazenby.
No, he might have grown into it, but a lot of people who defend him, he might have grown into it. I'm like, yeah, well, he fucking didn't do another one. He didn't want to. So, like, what can we judge him on? And then Sean Connery was always like, he never quite. He's my favorite Bond. He's amazing, but he's.
I was just going to ask, who's your favorite Bond?
He's not quite. I like him because I watched Goldfinger like 10 million times when I was younger. So he'll always.
I've definitely seen
Goldfinger
is definitely up there. I love Doctor No as well, but
I like Doctor No as well. Yeah,
I just love. I remember thinking when I was a child watching it, how callous Bond was, staring at Doctor No, trying to grab on to the pole at the end of it as he's going into the vat of acid or whatever it is, and he can't because his metal fingers.
Apparently for audiences at the time, the bit where the guy, he just shoots the guy, he goes, that's a Smith & Wesson and you've had your six, and apparently that was like really like shocking at the time.
Yeah,
like,
because he was
playing a different kind of guy. Yeah,
what was 1960 was Doctor No, was it?
I want to say 61 or 2. Yeah,
okay,
it's not 60. Yeah, jeez, fucking this is the kind of thing we should know now. We'll get raked over the coals for it. But he'll always be kind of. But I find again, there's a tension with his like what I always like the most about certain people playing it, especially Connery, is, and this is why again, should it just be some white guy? And I would make an argument. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I am saying it's kind of key to the Bond character to be this guy who walks into a room and is like, well, these fuckers are going to do what I want. Right. You know what I mean?
Just you mentioned it there. James Bond is and should always remain white. He should not be a woman. He should be a misogynistic man, a white misogynistic man. Well, now, if I was to turn around to you and say, let's make a fucking reboot of Shaft and make him white. Let's put Ryan Gosling as Shaft. What would your reaction be? Do you know what I mean? No, that's a black character. But for some reason, we're not allowed to say James Bond is a white character.
Well, you see, it's
okay. Like I get Idris Elba wants to play him, but no.
Well, there's more to him than just being smooth and all that, which that's a part of it and what everyone likes about it. But like, he's supposed to be able to sit in rooms with like powerful people and like they just treat him as one-to-one. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing about society, that you have to be a white guy.
Oh, so you're a racist
now. But it is part of what makes it tick. Like, he's a guy who can just go anywhere and he's no inferiority complex about himself, and it's not a nice thing about the character, it's a thing about the character.
I'm not one of these people who gets upset when people change the colour or the sex or anything of a character. Do you know what I mean? But I do think that there are characters that are just so quintessentially that character that to change them is blasphemy. Do you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is Shaft should never be anything other than a black man. James Bond should never be anything other than a white man. Yeah. Like fucking, and racking my brain here for a woman, but like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it is just one of those things where you're like it is just like when people say, oh, it's just this and that, they're just silly moves. I'm like, look, they've made so many films. There's obviously something to the formula that works, and you'd be fucking around with something. Like, someone might be like, oh, he's really good at chatting up that young one or whatever, but like, that's not just what the character is about. It's more than that. We're on topic still, I think, yeah. But as Irish people, like my dad, for example, loved James Bond. Absolutely loved it. Just thought it was great.
And your father was probably from a generation where there would have been a lot of hatred
my dad was like, he called soccer a foreign game and all this. And now there is in every Irish person, there's the Aaron jumper, and then underneath it you're wearing a fucking Man United top. You know what I mean? There's a bit of that. But he just thought, he would have taken it he would have thought what we were just talking about there, like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Sure, it's just about a guy going around, you happen to be British or whatever. There's more to it than that, I think. But like, that's what I think most people kind of click with. There is a thing, like I say, with Connery, what it always struck me as, and Daniel Craig as well, they struck me as people who weren't necessarily born into wealth. but they're like, I've learned this so well. I know it better than you rich cunt, and I'm gonna fucking point it out to you. Like there's bits with Connery where he points out you're drinking the wrong wine. You're doing all this, and I always took it as better than just him being a snob. I took it as being, here, fucking, even I know this. Come on, like, come on. I had to earn this. Like, you should just know this. I find that kind of stuff. That's how I take the kind of like the conflict with it. But yeah, just, it is like supporting fucking Man United or Liverpool. I think it is just, as Irish people, generally, we look at these and we're like, oh yeah, sure. What's the harm? Like, even something like The Spy Who Loved Me, where he opens the parachute and it's the Union Jack. When I watched
actually, no, here's where you get called out.
Far, is it?
No, here's where you get called out, because it's the Union flag. It's only the Union Jack if it's on a ship. There you go. That's for all the Brits in the audience.
They were fucking like smashing it. Well,
but they don't even know that.
I apologise. So we should have been called
when it opens up and it's the butcher's apron.
So we should have been called Flaggeens for all those years instead of Jackeens. Look that up, folks. People from Dublin, by my grandfather's generation, he never stopped calling me a Jackeen. God, you know, some things you never lived in.
I think you have to explain that now to the people.
When I did actually reference it in a previous episode, so watch all of them. When a British monarch visited Ireland, like in 1910 or something like that, the people of Dublin lined out on the streets holding mini Union flags.
Well, you have to parentheses this with what they were offered they were offered food and things to stand there with the British flag.
Well, they still capitulated. That does it. And
they ate the soup, as they say.
As I say, in my lifetime, my grandfather called me a Jackeen till the day he died, and I don't think it's kind of faded away now, but we were, because the Union Jacks, Jackeens. I think it's still, people know about it, but he just used it like Aye, Jackie. Like,
and they say that the Dubs ate the soup because the reason we lined the streets, and I'm sure plenty of people were in love with the British. We like to pretend like we were all rebels, but we weren't.
Apparently not. Yeah.
But what happened was a lot of orphanages and everything around Dublin were fed and given money to get your kids out on the street with the flags, so the monarch thinks everything is fine in good old Ireland. 6 years later, though.
6 years. Well, that was a big turn. Anyway, we're fucking going down a garden path with that. Well, again, like, just look, as Irish people, but like, in Japan, it's a huge character. Everyone knows this character, and there's something about it that they like. And you can kind of find whatever you want to like in it, I think. You know, it is a lot of these alpha males now, like, he's a hyper competent man who can do all this and that. And I'm like, and I have to go, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, there is just something appealing about that, you know?
Look, I mean, we can sit here and debate till the cows come home about, he's a misogynistic fucking. There's two ways to look at it. You can have the right wing grifter way of, he's an ultra competent man who can do anything and have anything and do anything he wants. But ultimately, and he's on the good side, which is usually the imperialistic colonizer side. But we'll probably get into it as we go on. Or you can have the view of, he's a fucking misogynistic murderer who doesn't care about borders, who would rather blow something up than talk about it. And there's two ways to look at it. It's two sides to the coin, and it depends on which side of the oil you fall on.
Well, I would count him as more of a chauvinist, but are we rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic with that one? No, there is stuff like, especially in Goldfinger, there's a bit where he goes to this young one like, man talk. He just sits around the yard like... And it's not funny, actually, now that I think about it. But there wasn't... most of that stuff had gone by the wayside in the Pierce... There is an awkward bit I find in GoldenEye, which is a far better film than this, I should say. GoldenEye is really, really good. But there's a bit in it where M is like, I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. And there's another bit where Sean Bean goes, oh, should I ask you if all those vodka martinis drown out the screams of the men you've killed? And I was like, guys, get that shit out of there. You can address that stuff, but it was so on the fucking nose. And I was like, the bit with Judi Dench where she says that is good compared to the Sean Bean thing. I'm like, Sean Bean wouldn't fucking reference the drink he fucking drinks. That's an audience thing. Like, that's Marvel fucking shite. Anyway, enough of that. That's enough of a throat clearing. I think this film's the bee's knees and the cat's pajamas. I really enjoy it.
I think it's as some of Pierce's Bond films gone immediately after this kind of off the rails a bit. I think this is a really good film. And who knew? And we joked about it at the start, but who knew that it'd be so relevant today?
Crazy, yeah.
Like,
it was weird watching it.
The only thing that they've slightly gotten wrong, I would argue, is that the legacy media, which Elliot Carver and this represents, isn't really the driving force. It's oligarchs and billionaires who control the social media platforms that really drive the narrative of whatever way you want to think, or they want you to think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's actually more sophisticated the way it's going nowadays. It is a movie though, so you know, what can you do? But it's surprisingly quite relevant. But to bring it back to, again, I have to place this in terms of, I love James Bond. Like, I really do love it. Now, I have my issues with a lot of the Daniel Craig film. I really like.
You have your issues. Daniel Craig's my favourite. I think. We'll get into this, right? I'll just have a short one on this, right?
Yeah.
But I think Daniel, for me, right now, I'm not someone who read all the novels and that. I've read one of them, I believe.
Yeah. I don't even think I've done that, to be honest.
Yeah,
a lot of people now will
so
be
maybe,
switching this off because of that. But.
The campiness, the ultra suave, like the Brosnan, the Dalton, the way they played it is actually James Bond, and I'm completely wrong. But to me, watching something, I felt like that was more. See, I need some sense of ground. Like, I need to remain on the ground on these type of films, unless it's something like, say, for instance, the one that came after this, Die Another Day, and you just have to completely detach.
It was The World Is Not Enough was immediately. Die Another Day is the one that everyone kind of says when.
Yeah, like that was just a departure from all reality. Like, that's the one that opens and he's on the boat, isn't that? And he's doing flips on the Thames or something.
The invisible car is what everyone mentions.
Yeah. But so with that, I think they did the right thing by bringing it, and they grounded it completely, because obviously it's James Bond, it's not going to be realistic, but you can have a sense of realism, and Daniel Craig really brought that.
I thought Skyfall was perfect, you know, like, and I really do mean it's definitely my top 3. I think Skyfall's brilliant, and he's great in it. There's only one bit in it that I don't like of him as James Bond, and he seemed to deliver it in a weirdly uncommitted way. It's the bit where Javier Bardem's like trying to intimidate him. And there's a bit where Craig goes like, "Oh, you forgot about my pathetic love of country," and I was like, "Come on, do that again, or cut that out." Or so. They were trying to fit that in, and I was like, "That's a square peg in a round." It just didn't seem quite right to me.
Okay, I mean, you mentioned top 3 there. Like, I mean, I agree with you there. Skyfall, and then Casino Royale. I think Casino Royale is probably the best.
I really like Casino Royale. It does go off the rails for me in the last half hour. I'm sorry to say,
when the building's falling.
The way the guy, I was like, is that Lashif? But he got plastic surgery, because there's a guy with like an eye missing, and Lashif got the thing with his eye and all this.
But I think Matt Mikkelsen is fantastic.
He's great, fucking, there's stuff in that is amazing.
Because you know me, I love when there's not a lot going on. If you know what I mean. Like, so there's big chunks of that film where they're just sitting around the poker table, and it's and that is so cool, like, because you're just purely relying on character and dialogue.
No, Casino Royale overall, I think it's really good, but just I have an issue at the end of Skyfall the whole way through. I loved it, but I do realize now that the last 2 films he made I don't care for at all. But I watched this film on this Japanese Laserdisc here. We'll talk about the VHS later, but
which is a really cool print. It's a really
nice,
cool image.
The image
it's very similar. I was going to bring it up. It's very similar to Snake Eyes.
Oh yeah,
it's very similar.
The multimedia thing. But after that, the Laserdisc folks had a lot of it, tended to have extras on them. This one just had a trailer at the end. But I realized how starved I've been for what I want from James Bond, because at the end, the trailer is like, the world's in chaos. The nations falling. One world under. And then it goes, and there's one man for the job. And it's like this CGI thing through the barrel of the gun for James Bond. And when he said that, I swear in my life, when he said, and there's one man for the job, I nearly teared up. I was like, oh, it was, and I'm as critical of like nostalgia culture nowadays, but I got such a sense of, do you remember when we were just like, oh yeah, James Bond, he's on a mission and he's off being cool and doing shit, and they just didn't do that with the Craig era, and I am kind of, Skyfall gave me enough of a jolt to that, but that was fucking like 14 years ago now, Jesus Christ. I missed it. I was like, there's one man for the job, like just completely embracing this amazing character, James Bond, and not questioning it and all this, which is legitimate, don't get me wrong, but I was like, can't we just enjoy ourselves?
Do you know what? So I will just jump into this, right? So obviously
that's a very long throat clip.
Yeah. We open up and it's where they're in the offices.
Arms Bazaar. They're in kind of the mission control center and all this.
And it's kind of and MI6.
Yeah.
Versus
the British naval officer. I liked how they did him actually, because he's pompous, but he's not over the top pompous.
But he's very
either.
incompetent though as well, but still seeming a bit confident. It's one of those, it's the dichotomy of the two things.
It was, what I liked about it was they'd normally do...
he wasn't a complete buffoon.
They say abort the missile, and I remember expecting him to go, oh no, let's see what happens, and he just immediately tries to do it, and I was like, all right, he's not a bad guy. He's just a bit of a... He's has his own way of doing things, let's say. I do like how they keep Bond off screen, like they're just hearing him, which kind of builds the mythos of the character. I just thought it was a well done scene.
Yeah, because basically he's trying to show them that, hang on, there's fucking nuclear missiles here. Like, do you know what I mean? I thought it was a very funny line from the admiral of the naval, and he turns around to the Russian guy and goes, can you not keep hold of anything? Can you people not keep hold of anything?
And I do like, this is maybe, I don't think this is conscious, but they kind of win you over, even with the whole, being British thing. They have this kind of, remember Judi Dench is like, I wonder will the CIA be angrier that they lost it or that we found it? There's this real kind of like, they paint themselves as like, oh, well, we're just this tiny little outfit, but we're better than you. And you kind of find yourself, because they don't place it in a larger context, you find yourself going, oh yeah, good for you guys.
Fair play.
Good for you, yeah. Let's forget about it.
And look, Judi Dench is charming, so
she's brilliant.
There's not a lot. Like, you could watch her for an hour and then you'd be fucking Real Britannia paint your face bleeding.
Oh fuck yeah.
By the end of it, like,
they do it like they're professional. Like they make apparently the set was very nearly unprofessional. Like there was there was
more than it. Yeah.
They were getting new pages. The film hangs together amazingly well
for what was the chaos behind the scenes. Like,
you wonder would that kind of help it, that they just, the only way they could get through the process was just boil it down. What's Bond? And then they did that, so it obviously kind of worked out. Now Bond is introduced punching a guy out who he offered a cigarette to and saying filthy habit, which is...
I think, now, I mean, I'm sure that they're in Goldeneye, but the one-liners here after, because there's almost one after every like kind of set-piece kill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
some of the lines he has here are fucking dreadful. They don't show up for a while, so we'll get to them, but... I thought apparently this was controversial. I think this suits particularly Brosnan's Bond very well. He's just going around like fucking shit up, like blowing shit up. I think Pierce Brosnan fires a machine gun very well. And it is just an aesthetic thing. I had a problem with the way they did some of the Craig scenes, which were obviously very John Wick, like he's killing guys with one shot. What they do here is, and I think it suits James Bond very well, he sprays a machine gun, they cut... and there's sparks flying and the guys like fall over, and I'm like, that's very Bond to me. The way they did some of the Craig stuff, I'm like, this isn't John Wick. Like, this is...
Yeah, but it was before John Wick.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking now, especially of the last two, like Spectre and No Time to Die. Like some of the stuff in No Time to Die, I'm like, oh come on, it's not that kind of an. I don't that was just to me like a matter of taste. That didn't seem to be Bond, but I like him here, and I do miss. Is this just a thing that I stopped doing at a certain point? It used to be a big thing watching these, like, oh, so he can fly a plane, can he? Yeah. Oh, so he can do this, can he? And now I just find myself like, whatever. Like, he can drive a digger, whatever. it just doesn't register with me. I remember my dad was a big man for that whenever.
Yeah, but this is this last time. It's only the second film, I believe, and the last time that you see him in his actual Air Force uniform.
That's true, because he is a pilot. He's a naval commander. Sorry,
okay,
but like in the, I don't know, in the British Navy, is it like in the US where they've everything?
Do everything, yeah.
But he's meant to, and of course, like he can dance. No, has he ever actually danced in anything? I don't think so.
I don't believe so, no.
But he can do he can ride a motorbike perfectly. He can fly like
with Michelle Yeoh.
It's James Bond, as they say. And I just like the ticking time bomb of the things coming. He gets in it's a very well done scene where he's flying the plane with the guy in the back.
Yeah.
And I did like that line where he shoots the guy into the other plane and he goes, backseat drive. I thought that was funny. I was like, that's good. So something that every Bond film you have to mention, the opening title scene, which I
Sheryl Crow, wouldn't it?
Sheryl Crow, yeah. I never liked them in the Craig era. Honestly, I always
there was some fucking duds in what's that one with Jack White and Alicia Keys?
Oh yeah, Another Way to Die or something. The Skyfall again, perfect. That's what
Adele.
Adele, yeah, brilliant.
But Yoke was great. I know it's the film mightn't be amazing, but No Time to Die, Billie Eilish, I thought was fantastic.
That was a good song. That's a very Bond song, yeah. A lot of people prefer, there's a song in the end credits for this called Surrender by Katie Lang, and it's too fast for an opening title James Bond one, I think. Tomorrow Never Dies is like perfect, and I like the graphics of it.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of naked women holding guns and shit. What do you want, guys? What more do we want? Then we go into a scene that they don't have a lot in films anymore, which is completely separate from the main character, that British ship being attacked.
Yes.
By the guys. Now, very quick, I've something here that I think British culture attaches itself well to action films, like that understatement thing. So if this were a fucking Michael Bay, now Michael Bay is the vulgar exaggeration of it, but if it was like torpedo 5 o'clock, whereas in this film the guy's like torpedo, 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 very flat.
A young Jared Butler.
Yeah, he's
head.
in there. Yeah, the guy who says, I always remember that, and it's in the trailer where the guy, he says it with like just the right pitch. He's not panicking, but he's like torpedo, torpedo. There's something about the British stiff upper lip thing that works well with action films. There's one called Who Dares Wins. And they have a commander on, like, it's like about an SAS kind of raid or whatever. And they have a commander outside and he's always just like, is that right? Yes. Okay. He's moving in. And it works very well. In the US movie, it'd be like, move right now. Bring it down.
Go, frag out.
Bring
frag
down
out.
the thunder. And there's something unique and that works. I would find it hard to do an Irish action film where it's like, Jesus, Paddy, get over there. I'm not...
Quick, run. He's behind you.
He's 5 guns there. No way. I remember, and I say that as I say, proud Irishman. There's an action movie by Steven Soderbergh, and they have like it's set in Dublin, and they have like a special
Haywire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
it's the funniest thing ever because anybody who's ever seen Haywire, like, to have that, I don't think there's that amount of guards that we do have police that carry weapons like that.
And in their defense, they're very well trained. Like, it's completely plausible. But
we have like the Irish Rangers are like some like SAS soldiers. You know what I mean?
There's just something about the Irish character that if you're running around dressed in black holding a gun, we just find you ridiculous. I think it might be a colonial thing. Yeah. But it'd be hard to make that work, like just an Irish action. It just kind of seems ludicrous, like, even to Irish people on its face. But I just always think they lend themselves well to that. Yeah, but Jared Butler's in
yeah.
Real thick Scottish accent as well.
Now, the stealth ship
is
real. It's not an invention for this film.
Is it?
This is a real creation. And it even looks, I have it here.
It could work like the stealth ship.
The stealth ship is not a fictional invention. Lockheed Martin secretly constructed and demonstrated one in the early 1980s. The US Navy finally decided that they didn't want it. The prototype, called the Sea Shadow, was 160 feet long, and the movie ship closely resembles it.
Get the fuck
It's
out.
an actual invention.
Really?
That I've never. I only found this afterwards, right?
Yeah.
When you actually watch it, that you're like, that's just a James Bond creation. That's not fucking real. And it's real.
Oh my god!
The actual thing, and it's impervious to radar, all this stuff. And it turns out that they didn't go through with it. Like
I'm absolutely amazed.
That is unbelievable.
Holy shit!
Now here's obviously we're also introduced to what's the guy's name? Otto Gatz Otto.
Stamper.
Yeah. This guy is the typical, I would say.
Yeah. I actually think he's someone who's been, again, he wouldn't be as memorable as like an Odd Job or anything like that. I remembered him from it, and I thought he was quite good.
He is, yeah, but I think he's a bit more sterilized than the rest of them. Like, I mean, if you look at the heavies from other films, like even going as far back as Jaws, like they're unforgettable. Like, do you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. I don't know.
He's just he's kind of stuck.
He was a good stock though.
We'll get to it.
When I say quite good, like the whole film is quite good, and it all adds up to being, I think, very good. I would say I saw him in one other film that Anton Deck were in. He's like that Alien Autopsy film. He's like some random guy in that, but I remembered him. I was like, oh, that's the guy from.
So we're introduced here now also to Jonathan Pryce's Elliot Carver.
Yes.
Now, one issue I've always had with kind of more modern Bond films is the fucking they blow it all out way too early and show us the villain. Like, there used to be a time where Donald Pleasant would spin around in a chair and he'd be holding a cat
till later, yeah.
And you'd never see him. You might see a shadow or you might see something. So they're kind of playing on that here, but you can clearly see it's Jonathan Pryce.
Yeah.
And he's in the following scene. Like,
yeah.
There used to be something to the tension building and to the, like, who is this guy? Yeah. From Dr. No, Donald Pleasant's, like...
True, yeah.
There was something really cool about that. Yeah. And the big villain reveal was a big thing. Like.
Well, there's a weird one in Live and Let Die where it's obviously the main guy in prosthetics, and then he takes off the prosthetics. And I remember even as a young fella being like, "But I fucking knew that was him. He talks like him." And that's a bit weird. But maybe they were going for that. They're like, "Oh, we need more of a reveal," because they did it in GoldenEye. That was a late reveal because you were supposed to. I think you kind of knew, but you were supposed to. I hadn't thought of it that way. He is a controversial element to this, Jonathan Pryce. All I can say is I was kind of dreading talking about it because all I can say is I just enjoy his performance in the next scene. Like, hello, my little golden retrievers. Yeah. And the way he's... Is
this the scene where he's talking to the people?
He's talking to the multi-heads on the thing, yeah.
What's he doing? He's just like this.
Yeah,
just banging on the fucking yoke.
A friend of mine's a James Bond fanatic, and I said, "What's your thoughts on this?" And one of his only comments was, "Jonathan Pryce does not know how to type." Now he is doing that, which you're like, that seems to me like to be an actor because it is a good flourish, but it is so divorced from reality.
The image is cool.
Yeah,
but you need to be able. You need to put some practice also because he's literally just all over the place.
It's worse later when he's meant to be typing something, and he's clearly just like, I don't. And he's typing more letters than it's great. But there is, I find
a lot quicker than the
I find that scene just kind of the right line, like for a Pierce Brosnan villain, where it's camp and it's like, oh yes, the new software is full of bugs, so you'll need to get replacements. Excellent, and do this, and I'm like, that to me is right on the perfect. That's I'm not. Sorry, perfect is a strong word because that implies he's an amazing man. But it's just right. I'm like, nice. I have no problem with him in this. I think
he's quite good. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah. Like, I
mean, he was apparently real pissed off with the way this was made, like getting new pages all the time.
Oh yeah,
very serious actor.
I don't think we could do it justice. Just how chaotic behind the scenes on this was.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like when you look at compare this to Spectre, which is another one made under like Spectre dissolves in the last like hour or something. There's a bit. I rewatched Spectre not too long ago, and I was like, this is actually better than I remember, and then it so badly goes off the rails for the last like 40 minutes, and oh my god. Whereas this is, although you'd swear it was very cohesive and coherent, it's very well done.
I mean, whatever about getting new pages and everything, like I mean, it does hang together relatively well. Like, do you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah.
I have to be honest, I wouldn't have this one up as like one of the best of the series. But it wouldn't be. It's certainly nowhere near one of the worst. Like, do you know what I mean?
No, well,
I wouldn't even go as far as middle of the road. It's very much. It's up there. It's knocking on the top 5 maybe, but it's not quite there.
I think I have enough affection for it. I haven't seen it in cinema, but it's in the same way that Pierce Brosnan, as much as
I'm trying to think of what's the first Bond film I would have seen in the cinema. It wasn't this.
I saw GoldenEye, and I actually, maybe one of the reasons I really like this is I didn't like GoldenEye when I saw it in the cinema, because if you watch GoldenEye back...
That's Sean Bean, yeah?
Yeah, it's not a kid's film. There's like a grown-up sensibility to it, like the images in it, whereas this is very flashy and there's way more gadgets. GoldenEye has a pretty bad score. If it like the score is the same score from the fucking video game, which is like... Whereas this is like... This is more of a kid-friendly film, if that makes it's flashier and it's brighter. But GoldenEye now, as an older person, I'm like, okay, that is better.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, he's fighting machine guns from the jump, and it's like it's the car and all of which we'll come to. This is just I preferred this. This was more my jam.
I know what you mean.
Than GoldenEye at the time. But then we hop into a scene that I do miss, Bond in bed with a good-looking woman.
Good-looking Danish woman.
Good-looking Danish, which is all the better. And some nice wordplay, like I've always enjoyed studying a new tongue. And
maybe James Bond can save Greenland. Through riding Danish women.
Said of it, Bring her back. That'd be something they do in a fucking modern thing is, hey, remember that one random woman he banged? Well, she's back. It's like, oh, that's great. Oh, fuck me. Thank you. The Bond community.
Queen Iris of Denmark.
She married into royalty. So she came back. So he's called in to the big, meeting, like, because this thing, the setup was they've murdered these British sailors and then they blew up a Chinese thing. So there's huge tension. And they do set a ticking clock in this scene that they don't actually do that much with, because the guy goes, you have 48 hours. That's how much time it takes to get the fleet in. Because in the next scene where he's being briefed, again, this is apparently among the Bond fans like kind of controversial because it's in the back of a car. It's not in M's office.
Yeah.
And they're moving along. To me, that's just... There's a deadline, let's go. Because they're driving them, as far as I know, to
That's
the airport.
That's exactly how I thought. Like, I mean, it's right. We have 48 hours. We're moving and shaking here. Like, do you know what I mean? We haven't got time to drive through central London to the office. Like,
they're in like a cavalcade or whatever the word would be. And again, there's a nice. They're in a rush, but M is like going, no, I believe you had a relationship with his wife, eh? And there's kind of a nice little twinkle in the eye to it.
Moneypenny's there in the front.
Moneypenny's there, and I'm like, this is nice. This is where I want it to be. It's serious, but hey, was it? I thought it was okay that you'll have to pump her for information. That was okay, but then Moneypenny goes, you'll have to decide how much pumping is necessary, and he goes, if only that were true for you and I, Moneypenny. I was like, that makes no sense. What's that? He didn't need to have the last line in the fucking scene, did he? Like, I'm just like, come on, guys. I think then are we straight into he gets the queue scene where he gets the car off a queue,
and he just automatically knows how to drive the thing, even though it's brand new, cutting edge technology.
I have to hand it to how Brosnan played that scene without coming off as like an arrogant knobhead is amazing. He just has that perfect. He goes like, let's see how she responds to my touch. I'm just like, I can imagine any other actor being like, let's see how she. Now I'm obviously overdoing it, but he never comes off as an arsehole. He just comes off as like, let me have a try. And he's just having fun, and he stops the fucking car right there, and the fucking music like, brilliant. Yeah. I get.
We were saying off camera, like, easily one of the best scores ever, like, surely.
Yeah. Oh, well, how they came like. Apparently, it was originally like inspired by another song. Or
I know,
like
but the funny thing is about it, the very original version is the best.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Everything else after that is like it all gets bigger than everything. Like, but the original is just like that's
it is
classically
something. It's just James Bond. Like they just don't have that anymore. It's a real shame.
They really don't because it's like the IP. Is the star now. We don't have characters or anything at the start. It's the overarching IP is the star. And that doesn't that creates a hodgepodge of everything in one. Like, so you need your Captain America. Look at Marvel for this example. So Marvel is the star.
Yeah.
Captain America, Iron Man, Thanos, music, Thor, everything is just in one.
Yeah.
It's Marvel. It's not anything like Chris Evans is not fucking star.
Yeah.
Captain America is though.
I could maybe do the Avengers team. I kind of know that, but they all have their own teams as far as I know. I'd be hard pressed to fucking tell you what any of them are. But it is so brilliant. Like when that kicks in and you're like, fuck yeah. And again, the way he says at the end, he goes, "I think we understand each other," and he plays it as like there's a little look on his face, like. Yeah, right. Maybe I went a little too far there, but that's what I mean. Like the subtleties of the performance. Like if you just go in and do a massive change to the character, I'm like, this shit's like a lot of people didn't like the way a straight white man Daniel Craig took it. Like, imagine you fucking go in and you're like, oh, sorry, I remember now the fucking thing I was gonna say earlier. It always bothered me because now I don't have a problem with it because I'm not as invested in. They did the race swap on Nick Fury, and. I think Samuel L. Jackson's great, brilliant. The only time that they ever really misstepped with it, but it did point to me of like, see, there's your problem. In Captain America Civil War, because he's meant to be like, Mr. Sign me up, I'm a fascist, we're going to have a police state. And then do you remember there's a bit where he's driving his car and a cop car pulls up beside him and he looks at him with like this weary looks like, what, you want to see my ID? And I'm like, wait a minute now. He's either a fucking fascist or he's a guy who's like, I'm tired of being hassled for my race by the police. I'm like, you can't really have it both ways.
Yeah.
So it'll be like if you're James Bond and he's like going around with the British fucking Empire and all this and you're like, well, wait a minute, haven't they kind of screwed over your ancestors in the past? Like what's all that? It's bigger than you might think is what I'm getting at there. Anyway, another unfortunate sidestep that'll be picked apart on Twitter or whatever. We get to so straight into the party scene after this, isn't it? Where we get the big line of this is again very ropey, I think, where we're introduced to Carver and he's like as I said to Angus Black, the great British beef baron, and I'm like,
because he owed me 10 grand in a poker game.
No, like, would he really have given all this backstory?
Yeah.
I kind of
very expository.
I get what they're going for. Which is like, oh, geez. And then I've always found this, like, even at the time, like, what is going on here? One comes up, he's the new banker. And he's like, yeah, James Bond. And I'm like,
see, this is the thing that's
why would he be introduced? Yeah. What the fuck? Like,
but not only that, but like, I mean, surely you wouldn't use your real name. If you're a spy, like, do you know what I mean? I know each and every film needs that Bond, James Bond line. Everyone needs it.
Well, it now you could, in this, I don't think you could, because he's spotted by his wife, and his wife, if she was really on board, would be like, yeah, this guy's a fucking secret secret agent. Like, you could maybe make the case in this film, it's so she knows he's there, but come on, like, but yeah, it is pretty fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, like, I mean, come on, you're an international spy. But like, come by your real name.
But like, he's a bank. What does that mean? He's a new banker. Like, what? I don't even know why he's being introduced to the guy.
What are you, an accountant or like? Do you know what I mean?
And I do like now how Carver has no interest in him, because Michelle Yeoh shows up and he's like, oh, who are you?
Yeah, no, but I do like even the line where he goes, how what's he say? How are the markets doing or something? Elia Carver goes, oh, well, currencies are down and all this. And I was like, oh, do we really need this?
Can
like,
you read that in the fucking newspaper?
Yeah, exactly.
It was very surface
You should be able to raise that in your newspaper, Mr. Carver.
As if you didn't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll maybe go into Michelle Yeoh a bit more later, because this is where we're introduced to Terry Hatcher.
Yeah.
Who I think
is a bit more of a quintessential Bond girl, I'd say.
Yeah, she seems kind of all at sea in this. I get the feel Terry Hatcher didn't know what she was doing, and I read some quotes from her that made me think she was like, well, I'm an actor, and like, what am I acting here? And I'm like, well, I think you're just supposed to show up and give it some sass, and then and she didn't. She seemed very adrift in that scene anyway, because that was a huge scene on ads at the time where she slaps him. How about I'll be right back? But she says like, how about I'll be right back? And I'm like, you don't seem that angry with him. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, and again, it maybe isn't her fault.
Look, I mean, I genuinely don't like criticizing individual performances or anything in films. I don't, because it's difficult. Nobody sets out to.
That's for Quentin Tarantino to do.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I mean, the way I look at it is, I look at it the same way as everything. Whether you give a bad performance or a good performance, it all comes from the same place. You want, do you know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
But in this, I don't know if it's a miscast. I don't know if it's our actual acting chops that she's not strong enough for this character.
Yeah.
But I agree. She just, like, it's like, what you doing there? Like, you know what I mean?
She's not really playing Anton like
she's nothing soup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Nothing burger, yeah. I will just say, she was on that show, Lois and Clark, and I think it was one of those adolescent moments.
She's great with that.
Yeah. There was a scene in that where, I don't know, something happens to Superman and everyone who meets him falls in love with him. And there was a shot of her where she sees him and runs towards him in slow motion in a white dress. And it was like someone set off an atom bomb in my fucking midsection, man. I was like, holy fuck.
All right. Anyway, and on that bombshell.
Thanks for tuning in. But she looks the part and all that. But, and again, I wouldn't necessarily blame her. It was very chaotic. And I think she was like, what am I doing here? They apparently, Pierce Brosnan anyway says he really wanted Monica Bellucci for that.
Yes, and, that's true. Yeah.
He said the fool said no. Whether she would have. She's more of like a movie star than.
What's the one? Monica Bellucci does pop up in one after this.
She's Inspector, yeah.
Yeah,
she's Inspector.
I think it would have been a waste of Monica Bellucci to throw her in there.
Too, yeah.
Like, she's a very great. She's a very strong actress. Like.
She's all over the advertising as Terry. She was very
because she was big at the time. Lois and Clark was huge.
Yeah, I guess it did help, but I just get a no-name actor in.
And the problem is she's fucking. We'll get to it, but she's not in it a lot.
It did need to be someone with a bit of status because she's so strong. It's just a bit of a missed opportunity. So again, they've kind of a thing where they're trying to connect. She does seem kind of annoyed at him, and then she fucks him over in front of her husband. It's like, oh, we were acquaintances, and like,
yeah. And then Eddie Carver here,
who was no fool, like, it was like,
Look, I mean, no matter what, like, I mean, look, if to become the character of Elliot Carver in this, you need to be very intelligent.
Yeah,
and he's so stupid in this scene, it couldn't be. But I mean, it just goes to show, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can still be an idiot and like be rich. But did you know that Anthony Hopkins was to play Elliot Carver?
Yeah, I read some stuff that made me think he'd actually started filming.
He did, he was on set for 3 days.
Jesus.
And he walked away because of it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see how Anthony Hopkins would have played Elliot Carver.
Fascinating, yeah.
Because I don't think there's an airiness with Jonathan Pryce's performance. There's a very kind of light on his feet.
Yeah, Hopkins would have been more threatening.
I think it would have been very kind of devilish.
Yeah,
it would have been so interesting to see Anthony Hopkins, but apparently he just walked away because of the fact it was so chaotic.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. I mean, him in Westworld, it's like, he's
fantastic,
brilliant. That guy, yeah. It would have been. He just would have been more. I do like Price in this in an enjoyable way, but Hopkins would have been more like threatening for sure. And
like, I don't look at Price and go, oh,
exactly,
but like, I mean, maybe it's again colouring all of Hopkins' performances with Hannibal Lecter. But there's just a fucking presence about him that's gonna make you go. He's only a little man, like
I know, but
there's a presence about him that make you go. Oh,
yeah. Well, this whole scene now I just find fairly poorly written because Bond is like, I get the idea he's trying to needle him, but he's like, so say you have this. Could you say send a ship off course? And you're like,
or misinformation and all this?
Yeah, so you're like, Jesus, that's a bit fucking on the nose.
But it's not because he goes because Carver said something about bringing information to everybody or something. Yeah. Because Bond asked him about the launch of a new satellite or something, wouldn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then
he says manipulate the course of. He's like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, these are some accusations.
But no, he goes, no, it's just about bringing information to the world or something. And he goes, or misinformation.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
But the way he says it, because it's kind of like full stopped. It's kind of like or misinformation.
I know and then what's even worse is he goes, oh, you've a very good imagination, Mr. Bond. Maybe you get. Oh no, I'd be all at sea, adrift. Don't fucking Jesus, terribly. And there's another bad line where she goes, I'm thinking of getting Wei Lin behind the news desk.
I'm sure she won't won't resist.
The reply line is fine, actually, but his line, you're just like, oh, that's a setup for some fucking line. And it does set up in fairness, that there's a tension in the marriage.
Yeah.
Because you get the idea. Yeah,
but I do find that hilarious because he gets so thick over her being flirty with James Bond.
Yeah,
and then he's just like literally being very overtly going, I want to take her behind the desk.
Yeah, this is what I mean when I say, like, if you understand like why actors are so insecure, these are magnificent actors who are just like, well, what am I supposed to do here? This is the lines I'm supposed to say. My character, I've no choice but to play him like a fucking idiot in this scene, or to play him as inconsistent. Like, you do it like, again, we're nitpicking a small moment, but like, this is why actors can be very insecure. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean the director doesn't know how to do this? Because that makes them look bad. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones fucking out there. So again, it's not really fair. But because I do rate Brosnan as an actor. I think he, in the right material, he's quite good. He should maybe steer away from doing accents. But he is a good actor. I've seen him be really. But
he does an accent every day of his life because he's from Navan, and people from Navan don't sound like that.
Really, yeah. I heard him interviewed about that on Terry Wogan, and Terry Wogan asked him. He's like, "What happened?" He was like, "Oh, well, I do have kind of that mid-Atlantic now." But he was at the time. This is the '80s now. He was able to plausibly
Remington Steele days.
His Remington Steele days.
He couldn't do that now. He couldn't do like an Irish accent now. I don't think.
Well,
although he was great in the Foreigner. He was good at that. I like the Foreigner. Playing Jerry Adams.
Yeah, I think the Foreigner is so fucking crazy. I actually really like the Foreigner.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, and that was it. That reminds me of, because that was one of the kind of the first original Netflix films, like, because it came out. That's nearly 10 years old now. Like,
it is, yeah.
And like that was one of the first where Netflix. Hang on, Netflix. I thought Netflix just streamed other people's films. They're actually doing it, and it was around the time Orange is the New Black and all. So it was the start of this original programming by Netflix.
Well, I just remember going, "Is this Jackie Chan doing Taken?" All right, and it's not that, but it's basically you couldn't.
Jackie Chan actually, like, for the. Because I mean, it's easy to dismiss the Foreigner as just kind of like he's very good in it.
He is. He was taking it seriously. Yeah. I don't take the film seriously, but the film takes itself seriously, which is good. Yeah. That film, actually, the guy who directed GoldenEye directed that, Martin Campbell. Very talented guy. Yeah. So we go into this, and then he's going off to. This is the launching of his news network. You know, there's back at when CNN was the touchstone of things. And I do like how these goons show up for Bond, and they're like, "Oh, there's a phone call for you," and Bond is like, "Oh yeah," like he knows they're lying, they know he's lying. Michelle Yeoh's there, and she knows it's all bullshit. It was like, "All right, well, I'm not going to kick up a fuss. Come on, let's go through the motions." And then he beats the shit out. That is kind of a funny scene. It's in a soundproof room, and he fucks shit up, and he does. I do like how. You're so completely like, fuck with this guy. Yeah, the way he just switches off the thing on purpose, and it ruins Elliot Carver, makes him look ridiculous. I do like how he fires your one, like, "Get out of my sight, you're fired." Yeah. And that woman really reminded me, and they
I'd say it's very true to character of someone in real life that might be like that.
Exactly.
Like a Steve Jobs type, that in the moment when something goes wrong, you go, "You're fired."
Yeah, apparently Elon Musk does that. I've heard stories of him. They'd be like, "Well, what's going wrong here?" And they're like, "Sir, everything coming out of your mouth doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to help you. Get the fuck out of here. You're fired." And, well, all right, yeah, but he's a genius. But her character, there's loads of women like that in Hong Kong that you'd see, because I was at things, so it's like, just this girl I knew, she was a cello performer. So I go, they'd have these gorgeous women up there who spoke flawless Mandarin, Cantonese, and English. And your one just reminded me of that. Like, this genius speaks like 5 languages, and she's just basically up there to be the translator for him. And I was like, so that kind of character always rang. She's apparently some footballer's wife or something like that. I can't remember. That was kind of like a cameo or something. But then we have the scene where, to me, Pierce Brosnan looks so fucking cool in the hotel scene where he's waiting for her. And he has the shirt open and he has the shoulder holster and the silence gun and he's drinking the vodka. And I'm like, man, he's cool, man. He's got it going on.
Yeah, you said at the start, but like that's the type of shot, and you see him, and you go, he was born to play James Bond.
He was. He really was. Yeah. You probably knew he was going to play it when Dalton got it.
Yeah, then, but it was the Remington Steele days.
Yeah, can you fucking imagine? He was like, one of the reasons about people who know these things, like Timothy Dalton's suits in those films don't fit very well because he was cast like 2 weeks before they were filming. They were that close. Can you imagine me and Pierce Brosnan? Like,
is it The Living Daylights? Which is the one with Benicio del Toro? That's
License to Kill. Yeah,
that's in my top 5. Like, I think that's one of the better ones.
I like both of the Dalton ones quite a bit.
Living Daylights is good.
Yeah,
one I think it's License to Kill as well, but I might be getting the two of them confused. Yeah. But that one where it's at the start where he jumps out of the plane and he surfs down to the fucking out on the door of the plane. Is that it?
What the fuck?
He's over water.
License to the Living Daylights is where they're on a train and exercise and the guy's killing them. He does.
I'm talking about, the opening.
He parachutes into a boat at the end of the Living Daylights.
I'm not talking about the end of it. I'm talking about, the opening fight or whatever.
Oh, no. That's at the end of the opening fight.
Okay,
I think that's the one you're thinking
Maybe,
of.
Yeah.
That's more of a traditional Bond film. License to Kill is the really gritty one with like drug dealers and. But I do remember in all this scene where then Terry Hatcher shows up because Jonathan Pryce sent her after him. She shows up. It was in every single trailer. There's a bit where it's shot from behind and he like pulls off the dress and she's just in the kind of stockings and all this. That was in every fucking trailer for a good reason, I might add. But yeah, he looks so perfectly the part now. He's just. Again, I prefer Connery because I grew up with him, but like, there's something perfect about Pierce.
There is something about that. But there is something about the whole idea of James Bond is whoever was your first James Bond. Yeah. Whenever you come to James Bond, whoever's playing him is usually the one where you go, he's the best. Because I know plenty of people who think Pierce Brosnan's the best. I know, like my dad's a Roger Moore fan because it would have been who he watched when he was a kid. Do you know what I mean? The only person nobody's ever said George Lazenby's the best.
Yeah,
but. That's the thing about the character. It always seems to be. I don't think there's one absolute answer as to who is the best. I think there's a lot of nostalgia involved in who you think the best James Bond is.
Big well, when you rewatch the Connery ones, like he does just stop trying around. Like you only live twice. Like, he's okay, and you only live twice. But by Diamonds Are Forever, he's just like checked out. Like there's one bit in that where I'm like, he's putting in a bit of effort there. Anyway, we do digress. So. Then, kind of unnecessarily, Carver sees, okay, these guys, my wife and James Bond were more intimate, or it seems to be like he realizes, okay, this guy's actually a secret agent. He's not just, I know for a fact, and my wife knows for a fact. So Bond leaves. He breaks into to Carver's like base or whatever you want to call it to look for the thing that, so the MacGuffin of the movie is that thing that can alter the GPS thing, which is why the British destroyer in the first
ends up in the Chinese,
it was in the wrong
South China Sea or whatever.
And there's a very good action scene with him just going through the newspaper, and like it's very well done. I don't think we need to harp on too much about it, but it's just very entertaining.
Is this where we find out Michelle Yeoh's is?
We find out Michelle Yeoh's.
This is where, for me, the film it gets, because I genuinely going back a few years to when I first saw this, but I just thought Michelle Yeoh was another Bond girl. So this is for me, this is the first one where I saw, actually she has something to do. She has a personality herself.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I mean, if you look at it, even the one that's sticking out to me is Denise Richards for some reason, right?
Yeah.
She's just there because she's a good-looking boy. Like, Olga Kurylenko in is it Quantum of Solace?
She's Quantum of Solace. Yeah.
They're just there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Michelle Yeoh can kick some ass, like, do you know what I mean? She actually, and she has a personality. They don't just, like that whole, we'll get to it, I'm kind of skipping a bit, but where they end up in the bicycle shop, and it turns into it's the
that's
Chinese
great.
version of MI6's
Yeah.
pub or whatever. Like she has some things to do. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not. That's the first experience I've ever had of a strong female character in a Bond film. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's not as if that's perfect because I mean, at the end of it, she's still just there to have sex with James Bond.
Yeah, and she does get caught and all this.
You know what I mean?
You know,
Damsel in distress and all
it
this.
is a James Bond film at this. But yeah, I take your point there. Yeah, I have to say, I like Michelle Yeoh for a long time. As anyone who watches, I like Hong Kong films. She's in one called Yes Madam, which is like one of the all-time great martial arts scenes at the end of it, and she's so gorgeous in that film. Holy Lord of Divine. But I wasn't actually a fan of her before this film, but over the years, I think she's very good and I enjoy her. I will say a lot of people, I think, gloss over the fact some of her dialogue delivery is slightly wooden in this. Now, she isn't a native English speaker. She carries herself very well through it. She does the action stuff really well. But there's a few times where I'm like, all right. Because they used to dub them all back in when you watch any of the Roger Moore or Sean Connery ones, 90% of the women in them are dubbed by another actress because they were like, oh, who gives a fuck? Maybe they should bring this Academy Award winning actress. Should have been maybe dubbed. But it's a very good. It's
Crouch the Tiger, hidden dubber.
Yeah, she was brilliant in Crouch the Tiger. Yeah, I did. They made a sequel to that. Did you ever watch it? It was in English. Apparently, it's terrible.
She don't do that.
So yeah, he escapes. It's a nice action scene, but it's not really worth harping on about. He goes back to the hotel now.
This scene,
I think.
Wait, is this where he finds?
He finds Terry Hatcher dead,
yes.
And I think Dr. Kaufman is brilliant. I think
this is what. Hang on, I have his name here. This is what got Otto. This is the memorable kind of bad.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And he's not in it for enough.
Yeah.
What's his name? I can't remember.
Vincent Schiavelli is the actor.
Vincent Schiavelli, that's the one.
Who's doing a just perfectly right comical German accent.
Yes.
And apparently some people don't like it because they're like, oh, it should be a heavy moment. But I am like, no,
but
no,
it's
no,
not.
no.
It's he's not. But the thing that makes it work is that he's not doing it for comedic effect.
Yeah,
it's not doing it to. You're not meant to be looking at it and go, oh well, that's not accurate. It's just the scene in itself. Because at the end of the day, because I know this is a bit more flashy and it's not as gritty or as dark as some of them.
Yeah.
But what's happening is quite dark. She's choked out. She's dead.
Yeah, what I found interesting was, and I think what kind of helps it work tonally is Brosnan, I think, plays it as in, and it's a fucking guy like you that did this. Like he couldn't believe, like this is just the reality of who showed up and did this horrible thing, this weird, creepy guy. And I think Brosnan kind of plays it that way. He's like, he's not amused by him at all. Like he's just like, you fucking art. But the way he Brosnan is brilliant in that scene. Like there's a great bit where he's like, if you shoot me from over there, and he's a lovely kind of a way of like body language and all this, but the way the way he plays is like, I could shoot you from Stuttgart, and I'm like, Stuttgart, that was the perfect city for him to say. He is fucking brilliant.
And what was he? Because he's a forensic scientist or something.
Yeah, I could shoot you from that.
No, look, you get no notes from me from that scene.
Like a lot of the film, I have to say, just operates on very good. But that moment to the end of the car chase, I'm like, that is exceptional. That's up there with the best. He is just brilliant.
And look, he's just so short in the film. Like, it's just, I wish he had more to do.
It is a bit of a shame though. Like, the way they get rid of him's good. Like,
it is very good. But like as I said, because I mean, Gotts Otto, the guy who plays, what was his name again?
Vincent Schiavelli.
No, Gotts Otto.
Oh, I don't actually know the actor's name. I should have written that down.
No, I don't need an actor's name. The character's name is fine.
Oh, Stamper.
Yeah. So Stamper is meant to be that guy. Like, you remember like Gary Busey at the end of Lethal Weapon or something. Like, you remember that guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't remember, I'm sorry, but you remember Vincent Schiavelli. Like, do you know what I mean?
Time, yeah.
100%.
He's fucking well, the way
he's what Gotts Otto was meant to be.
I think so. I do. I just the way, and again, that was written on the fly. It makes so much sense. They're just like, we need to get into his fucking car. Like, you have to ask him, and he's like, oh, this is so embarrassing. And he goes, oh, I'll do it. And he goes, I do it, yeah. And the way Brosnan, he does these little things. Like, he's very underrated. He goes like, and send, and he does this little gesture with his hand, and he plays it like, okay, I'm resigned to my death. Whereas in fact, he never tips his hand to the guy like, oh, and then you press send. He just does it as in like, there you go. And as soon as he's up, there is a darkness to the character. He just executes the guy.
Yeah.
I thought they could have done, and I heard someone, because I watch a lot of James Bond channels, and I had misremembered it because the guy goes, I am just a professional doing a job. I always remembered it as being Brosnan goes, so am I. and I saw a guy talking about it, and he did the same thing. He goes, so he has him, and he goes, I'm depressed. He says, so am I. He actually says, me too, which isn't as strong. Yeah, he goes, me too. It's not terrible, but I am like, should have been, so am I.
Again, way ahead of its time, this film.
Hashtag me too, yeah. But yeah, it is a shame to get rid of him. But then we go into, I think...
It's very good.
We talk about non-submersible units, like this is
one of them.
This is...
Driving
brilliant.
the car, right? Because obviously we've mentioned about how one of the gadgets he has is a BMW that can drive via remote control.
Hashtag bring back gadgets.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
And even just how it opens, because they're obviously trying to gain entry to the car. They can't. He gasses them all. The car drives out and he bails straight into the window. Great, just like you could almost say stock stunt, but like it looks fantastic.
It's brilliant.
And then the whole rest of the thing is this big car chase through a multi-level car park.
Yeah,
where he's just in the back of the car.
Yeah,
and he's not, and he's just like this. And it's shot so well. Like.
It's it is a brilliantly done scene. It's amazing how much it adds to it. The fact that he's remote controlling it from the back seat, that just adds this brilliant little element to it. It would have been brilliantly done anyway, even if he was driving it.
No, but see, that's the thing. I think that it would have been very good. But it's amazing that he's in the back seat and not driving the car. It would have been very good if he was driving the car.
Well, the way he uses all the guys, and there's a brilliant bit. This is what I mean. Like Brosnan is underrated because it's like he's just playing. There's a bit where he inflates the tires, and he just has this look. He's like ah. And I'm like, that's what I miss from James Bond. He just enjoys all this bullshit. Like he's having a good time. Like that's great. Oh yeah, brilliant. I'm like, fuck yeah, fucking ding da da ding dong, like fucking great. And there's all the gags are quite clever. Like it's like they shoot the missile through the car. He drops the spikes. It's just really great. And the way I did think he was maybe a little too, if I had to nitpick, he's a little too cavalier sending the fucking car careening down onto the street below him. Like, even if you're blowing the horn, like most people are so fucking thick, they'd be like, oh, like a fucking cream cracker. Like, but what a scene. We can't do justice to it.
No.
Just watch that scene. It is brilliant. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's on YouTube. Like, you can just sit there and watch the scene without having to watch the whole film.
And that's just pure craftsmanship. Oh, like, amazing. That's when James Bonds are firing.
There's a couple of things, because what's it, Robert Spottiswoode?
Spottiswoode, yeah.
Right, there's a couple of things, because I mean, similar to the Marvel films, it's very rare that a director sticks out in the James Bond film. Because I mean, what are you directing? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we know that he has who James Bond is. We don't need anybody trying to fucking reinvent the wheel here. Yeah. But there is some things in this, like for instance, that scene, and then there's a scene later which. We'll when we get to it, but they're really two notable bits of like direction and scene building that are really good.
Yeah, no, he directed a very good. It's like a made-for-TV thing called, and the band played on. I want to say that's really very good. It was like a big. It's about the AIDS epidemic, the start of the AIDS epidemic, and it's a big all-star thing. Very, very, very good director. Yeah, he's. Wouldn't be hugely familiar with a lot of his stuff, but the stuff I've seen has all been very good. Yeah. So after that we go into, I think it's in this where he goes to Bond he meets up with the CIA guy, Wade.
I love this. How the Americans are portrayed in fucking James Bond films.
These buffoonish kind of jackasses.
They're all idiots. And they're exactly like you say. Because I mean, obviously, what he has to do is he has to parachute into it's Vietnam, is it?
Vietnam. It's meant to be Vietnam, It's obviously Thailand if you know that part of the world. But
But so that's the whole thing. But so he meets Felix, is it? Is it Felix?
No, it's not. Felix. I don't think Felix either is in the. His name's Wade.
Wade, okay,
he was in Goldeneye as well.
Yeah. But like, he's just such a bleeding caricature of like. There's no high level spy. Well, maybe there is. Maybe it's actually more accurate than James Bond being a spy is, because he's just a bloke. He just seems like a guy that you'd meet in a bar. Like,
well, there's a great, because Bond, as you say, has the naval outfit and he's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt. And there's a moment, and it's actually in the background of a shot because the technician's trying to work, and they both kind of look at each other and size up the outfits. And Brosnan's like, your man kind of looks at him like with the uniform, and Brosnan's like, and he was like, oh yeah, fair enough. It's just like nice little moment.
Well, this is exactly what we were talking about like the kind of Michael Mann version of soldiers and stuff, because when he's now I know he has to get suited up for the parachute, right? But he's like the guy explaining to him, this is what kills people, and it's all very.
Did you know that that's the sergeant from Aliens?
No way.
The same guy, yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
I love the core. Every meal's a banquet, every paycheck. Yeah, it's the same guy. Yeah,
No
he was a real drill instructor in real life or something like that. Apparently, yeah. I did. I wouldn't have copped it actually, because even though he looks exactly the fucking same, but he's not shot in like a close up or anything. He's just kind of it's always wide shots with him, but it's apparently the same guy. Yeah. And then there's a bit where it's like, hey, we're in Vietnam. Like, does he have any U.S. markings on him? It's like, yeah, fucking everywhere, which doesn't go anywhere, but it is. It just kind of shows them as like, man, these guys are kind of Egypts, aren't they? They've all these flashy fucking things.
They've all the money in the world, but they just haven't got a brain cell to rub together.
They have 2 cents in their head, so we go down again. I hate to brush over this because I'm sure it was an absolute pain in the arse to film, but there's the underwater checking the boat. There's a missile missing, checking the Devonshire. He bumps into Michelle Yeoh again. Must have been a real pain in the arse to do, but frankly, it's well done, moving on. And then they're captured by your man Stamper, and they're brought to the headquarters.
Yeah.
Now here we have
some of the worst fake typing ever.
Yeah, and well, just before the absolutely god awful lines where she goes, "You seem to be following me around, Mr. Bond. We do seem to have developed an attachment," and he shows the handcuffs. Ugh. And then you see the Carver banner outside this guy. He seems to have developed an edifice complex, which is awful and should have been cut out of the fucking film. Terrible.
Yeah.
Then we go in and we have the world's worst fake tie. As you ever. Sorry, we did forget. I did like because he's writing like tomorrow's headlines and all this. But they had in the Vincent Schiavelli scene, they had the news report that was filmed before, which that was really creepy.
Yeah.
Like she was found dead, and that was just a nice creepy kind of touch. And he's doing more of that here. He's looking at the headlines and
yeah, for the times that we live in, like Jesus Christ, because it is very. Because I mean, people don't. People go, "Oh, I know the media manipulate things," but when people actually sit there and go. But they believe that things that they don't believe in are being manipulated.
Yeah.
But say, for instance, if you believe you have a left sensibility, well, then when the media talks about left sensibility, you like, oh yes, that's right, and you think, oh, why are they manipulating when they're talking about the right wing? And the same with the right to the left.
Yeah,
they assume that their echo chambers are the correct ones, but it's all part of the same Borg of just media manipulation, like, do you know what I mean? And people don't realise it. Like,
well, it's he's quite an audacious plan, as our Mr. Carr. Does he actually want to trigger the war? But then, sure, what difference would fucking having the broadcasting rights in China?
But that's the thing. That is the most. That's what he wants. He wants the broad. He doesn't care. He doesn't want a war.
I think it was he wants his guy to end up. The guy who
General
you see very
Che
briefly, the guy he's they see him walking past in the corridor. That guy is the kind of head henchman in John Woo's Hard Boiled, which I've gone a few episodes without mentioning. An absolutely amazing stunt choreographer. I think he worked on this as a stunt choreographer and all that. I think the idea is he'll kind of swoop in the chaos and take over and stop the war, and then he'll give Carver the broadcast rights to China or whatever.
For the next 100 years.
Next 100 years, yeah.
You could just say in perpetuity if you're going to this fucking...
it was an odd... I always actually kind of half liked it, as in like he nearly expects to live that long. There's some kind of weird...
Yeah, there's an argument, so I get it, but it's just like, it's what a...
It is a slightly... wet impractical,
paper. Okay, so you want to be able... Like, I can't even put it into words. Like, it's just such a stupid reason to try and cause World War III. Yeah. But then again...
Yeah, having said
wars
that,
have been fought for less. Like, you know
well, they make it seem like he just... kind of wants the money almost, or so. If they'd played, they obviously do the he wants power thing more, but it just kind of they didn't sell it enough on like it's the power aspect. So then we do have the nice scene where your man Stamper talks about how he's going to torture them to death
because
and all this.
The Vincent Schiavelli character was
he was like a father to me, and I remember going, oh yeah,
what's the line? Brosnan has a line here. It's like one of them one-liners.
Oh, he goes, you'll be tortured, and he goes like, I would have thought watching your television shows was torture enough. I was like, that's pretty good. That's funny. Like that's something Bond would say. So I was a little disappointed on rewatch how they escape, because I was hoping they do something clever.
I always enjoy it, but that's
not how they escape, but like the initial start of it, Brosnan just kicks something and then it all kicks off. I was hoping they do something a little clever, jumping out the window and grabbing onto the thing.
Fantastic.
That's good. Yeah,
because there is real tension there. Is this gonna stop?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And it's edited like. Cut, and then they land like way too high. I always thought that was good, because you just assume they're going to get all the way down. That's very good. And I don't know if they'd be able to build up enough leverage to break through that window, but you know, it is a movie.
It's a James Bond film.
Yeah. Then we have the famous motorbike scene. Now I remember watching this.
Here's what I was going to say about a great bit of direction. So before this scene was shot, Spotswood pulled Brosnan and Michelle Yeoh aside and said, "Don't let him drive. Michelle, don't let him drive. Pierce, don't let her drive," and said it to them separately. So that back and forth that you see is I'm driving. That's not in the script, like, do you know what I mean? He just said fight over it, like, do you know what I mean?
Good direction,
but he didn't. It really is, because he didn't tell either one. He took them separately and said, "Don't let him on it." Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it's again just they were putting in the like, it wasn't just showing up and directing traffic, like they were putting effort in. Now I remember watching this one time. We were in my cousin's house and I think it was raining, and I remember my dad was there and my uncle and my cousin who knew, my cousin's younger than me, Liam, if you're watching, hello. He knew like the film off by heart. But we were watching this. I remember we all were talking and we just went quiet during this scene because we were all just watching it. And then with it ended, my uncle just goes, "Geez, that was a really good scene, wasn't it?" Like the whole bit with the helicopter chase them. It is just brilliant. Like it's just craftsmanship.
It's very well shot. Like, because I mean, it's very easy, especially in the 90s, for films to with chases or anything like that to just be shot with static cameras and stuff driving by them.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. Even though there's a lot of that actually happening. Do you know what I mean? Jordan is saying, it doesn't feel like that, and I think that's down to the editing. It's so well edited and it's so well shot.
But like, there are stakes. They're the underdogs,
and it's cool that they have to kind of they're kind of uncomfortable on it. They have to kind of keep.
Yeah, that was a really nice touch. It's like the same way he's in the back seat and acting. The fact that they're together and they have to keep changing. She's just like, I am gonna fall off. Like fucking, stop. Like we need to rethink this. Very, very, and I did like the climax. They did something clever at the end. Like it's not like Inspector where he uses a fucking PPK to shoot down a fucking helicopter. Jesus Christ! They do something clever, ties it up in the back. The thing goes very just brilliant. Like you just have to watch it. Like it's just brilliantly done. Then she ditches him. Yeah, and she goes back to her kind of base. Now, as a big fan of Hong Kong action, I can see in this that the guys were kind of hamstrung because they brought in an actual Hong Kong stunt team. I can kind of see like how they were asked to like, okay, don't exactly do your thing. We're going to Hollywoodize it. Like they're moving a bit slower than they would.
Did you not read? I read that they actually had to call in the stunt team that originally was attached to the film. Didn't want to do films with, or didn't want to do scenes with Michelle Yeoh because she's full contact. Like she will hit you.
Really?
Yeah.
She would have been.
They called in Jackie Chan stunt team to perform, especially in this fight that's coming up here in this scene. They're all Jackie Chan stunt team apparently because they're from the same ilk, the Hong Kong cinema of full contact.
I knew they got in a Hong Kong stunt team. I didn't know it was Jackie Chan's, but you can kind of see like they're being asked to rein it in a bit. And the way this felt, like they would just spend, like especially the Jackie Chan scenes, like people in Hong Kong would be like, yeah, everyone talks about Jackie Chan. He has like basically an unlimited budget. A lot of us have to do stuff quickly, but his stuff is so good because they spent 5 months doing it. They probably did this in like 2 or 3 days. Not knocking it, like for a Hollywood movie at the time, it's actually pretty good. But it is. This
is a real culture, and this is what I was saying. Like this kind of turns into James Bond almost becomes the side character in this scene.
In that
because it turns, and then she presses the button, and then all the computers and gadgets pop.
Like the stuff she was doing does kind of show him up because he just shows up at the end and like does a very simple punch on the guy. But and he isn't afraid to play second banana to her. Like he can't use the keypad and he touches something.
Yeah,
like,
showing his characters.
It's all very good. Now, this is a small point, even for someone like me. I've mentioned knowing a little about guns and all this. He does swap his PPK for a PP9, I think it's called, in this scene, which was controversial. So he got an updated handgun. I've never really liked the PPK as a gun.
Is that the little, the GoldenEye gun?
Yeah, it's a gun. Yeah. Just never quite. I don't know if it's the sound effects they use. He never uses it much, actually, Bond. He never uses it. But I was like, give him another gun. I never really saw it. I know why he has it because he's a secret agent and it's small, but I'm like, it just was never an amazing gun. That was apparently very controversial. The fact he shoots machine guns is controversial for some. Which, fair enough. If you like your Connery Bond, he wasn't at that kind of crack, so fair enough. Then I think we're straight into the stealth boat kind of scene here.
Where they go searching.
They again, this is maybe the weakest part of the film, which isn't to say it's bad. It does just become a little bit
it's very quickly like I mean, I suppose you can give it some sort of credence because, like, obviously, Michelle Yeoh quickly goes from formidable character to damsel in distress.
Damsel in distress, yeah.
And then it's just anybody like God thought that was kind of a stamper. Like he'd know that that's not James Bond. That's not to fall into the water. Like it's kind of like okay, it's one of them kind of contrivances that you just have to make to continue on with the film as an audience member. You have to go like, oh well, okay,
yeah. I think maybe the last time I watched it, I really enjoyed it watching it for this. I think maybe like out of all the times I've watched it, one of the most. I was very maybe more forgiving, but I did like the big face-off scene. I thought that was really where he has the guy who we haven't really touched on, that actor guy who's like Price's kind of tech guy. He's a guy called Ricky Jay, who's a real life magician. I think he's passed away now. He was in a load of David Mamet films. He was just a real guy who could do action. He's a little bit wooden, but like he's kind of a memorable presence. I think that scene's quite good, and I like how Brosnan was able to play the darkness of the character without tipping over too much like Dick Craig did. Like he is willing to execute the guy.
Oh yeah,
he's doing it to rescue your one, but like he is willing to do it. And I did like how Price calls his bluff and like shoots the fucking Aegis like, just press a button and it's done. All right, well. And Bond is like, he just kind of register like, but he's like, oh, well, I do have something else. It's not my plan A, but and I was like, he just plays that really nicely, and he's like not letting him get the better. Like he shoots the guy in the middle of talking to him. He's like, sorry, what were you saying? He just had that fine line of it. He was never too far in either direction. He was just perfect, Brosnan, I found. So then it kind of just, I hate to knock it because it must have been tons of work, but it's a good solid action scene. Michelle Yeoh is freed at a certain point and she gets to do her thing. This VHS here, I must have really liked it because I bought an ex-rental VHS of this film. This version and the one I would have seen in the cinema is edited because she uses throwing stars at a certain point. And the British film censor at the time was a guy called James Furman, and he had like a phobia almost about nunchucks and martial arts weapons in general. Like one of the Turtles movies is edited because Donatello, whoever, uses nunchucks, and he refused to have them in movies. Yeah, he didn't want them to be imitated. Isn't it amazing the
power we used to give these people? Like,
it's crazy. Yeah, apparently he did kind of lose the run of himself. There's a few documentaries been made about it, like how
when you look at films like you look at Straw Dogs. Straw Dogs was banned for years in the UK. Like, and like I mean.
It's very controversial, but like what you see is very tame, This guy, apparently he did just lose a run of himself. Like apparently he'd be up at 3 a.m. like in the screening room watching things obsessively, even though other people had already checked the film. Like he was just like obsessed with the job, and that's why when he retired, that's when like everything started being released. Like all the video nasties finally got released. And it was fucking crazy. Like one fella, Anyway. It'd be slightly edited. Now, we do get the death of the villain, which is good, except I have one caveat, which is, so they have that drill.
Yeah,
kind of drill missile thing. Yeah.
So I get the back and forth that him and Bond and Carver are having. I get it. Now, what's the line that Brosnan says just before? It's a stupid fucking line.
Give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want.
Mass media.
Yeah, give the people what they want. Now, so what happens is that thing is coming towards him.
Yeah.
Grand.
Yeah.
There is about 5 beats where Carver could easily just step to the left and not be killed.
He does just go, oh! It is a bit, it's not a fair comparison. It's a bit Austin Powers-y.
yeah. Because that's what gives me a real issue, like. Do you know what I mean? Because all you needed... The split second should have been Bond has a split second to move.
Yeah.
And there's literally just a frame of Carver and gone.
Yeah.
But this...
Well, I had the same thought and I was like, would it have worked if he like punched him into it or something? Because he's the main villain, you get away with it.
Yeah, you punch him in the stomach or something, he's like, and then he gets up and it's at his face. Like.
This is too They needed to rework that a bit.
It's really like, it's really kind of... And it kind of... Because I mean, I know, like I said, Carver's... body is light in his feet, like he's very like we missed the part where Michelle Yeoh what happens and he starts wow
that's a very
that's fucking ridiculous. Like I'm sorry, that's stupid.
It is on this rewatch I think I was a little more forgiving and I was like, I think his character might do that. It didn't, which is not to say it's an amazing moment or anything, but I was like, I think he might do that. But they maybe should have just left it out. Now the moment of that, I am wondering, because now this is where we might really get into problems. What was her name? Naomi in No Time to Die, the black female 007 that the internet got up in arms. There is a bit in that, yeah. She was actually very good in that. I thought she was very unfairly treated in the run up to it. She's carrying around that annoying scientist guy, and I don't know if you remember this. She's like leading him around the place, and then for no reason, this is what I mean when I say that film was made in a rush, and there's bits in it you're like, what the fuck? He just goes, oh, did you know I could eliminate your entire race with my genetic engineering? And she just goes, oh yeah, and she just like executes him, and I was like, that's a little much. Obviously now I don't give a fuck, like the guy's a horrible guy, that's why they did it, but that just seemed like a little too much to me. Whereas I think with the main villain, you could throw him into the fucking thing and like, that'd be fine. It's hard. It is kind of, I can kind of see why they did it the way they did it, if you know what I mean, but they should have rethought it. I did like the fight with Stamper. I thought that was pretty well done, where he like sticks the knife in him and he pulls it out, or he doesn't react
again. Like, I mean, I look at Martin Riggs, Gary Busey, and what have you at the end of films, and like even John McClane against some of his guys, like especially in Nakatomi Plaza, the guy with the long hair.
I'm gonna kill you.
But this isn't memorable like that. It's all right.
It isn't, no. It is. I would say it's pretty good. Yeah.
Even the fact, even as like his foot gets caught and the missile's about to take off or whatever, like even that could be done so much better. Like,
I was okay with it. I thought that was.
There's a film called The Bank Job.
Yeah. Oh,
with Jason Statham. Yeah, no, it's one of his better films, Jason Statham.
Yeah.
It's not just pure fucking ridiculous action or that, and it's really fucking well thought out, and it's based on a true story. It's very good, actually. I think you should check it out. But there's a scene, without giving any spoilers, where there's like this kind of, it's for blowing away concrete or something. Like it disintegrates it, and they stick it to this guy's ankle, and you see it disintegrating. Now, that's essentially what's happening in this. Now, I know it's a Bond film, so you can't really be that graphic. Yeah. But like that's all I could think of. I was like, that could have been done so much better. Do you know what I mean?
I guess I'm just watching the film on its own terms. I'm kind of along for the ride. This was one of the most enjoyable times I watched it for this, which isn't always the way. But I was like, that's grand, and I like the way, the guy acted it. He was good, and the way he resuscitates Michelle Yeoh seems medically questionable. There, that is a little bit weak, but I don't know. There's a Bond guy who reviews movies, and I was watching his review of this, and he seems to be like, oh my god, Calvin Dyson. Calvin Dyson's his name. He's quite good. He's a young British guy who reviews them, and he's a real Bond fan, so I kind of like that take on it. And he was like, because I think in the original ending, it's so muddled actually, but the ending is like him and Wei Lin on like a piece of wreckage. And he's it's very Connery, like let them search for us.
We'll.
And he was like, oh, I don't know if this is the most comfortable place, for a shag. And I was like, well, take a shot, guys. I would be willing to. If Michelle Yeoh was willing, I don't know that it would bother me exactly where it was happening. Who knows, would the magic still be there in 2 hours? Who's to say?
As Charlie Sheen in 2.5 Men once said, I once had an orgasm with a lawn dart to me fuck. You know what I mean? So
we're all built different.
Simple creatures.
Yeah, we are simple creatures, yeah. But I personally think very enjoyable film. It's hard to say. I think it's more than the sum of its parts. It's the only way I can say it.
I think I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact, I have a much deeper appreciation of this film now, knowing what I do about how chaotic and everything that it was. Because it does hold together very well. It's coherent throughout.
Yeah.
Not once. Any issues it has, you don't go, oh, well, it must have been a bad set or anything. Nothing. Yeah,
hats off to them for that. Yeah, it is amazing. I think it sometimes suffers because I did a Bond marathon twice through. Jesus, in the last 5 years, like I watched beginning to end. The first time I watched them out of order, but I watched all of them. The second time I watched them all the way through. And I think the film suffers a little bit like that because if you compare it to others, which kind of have higher peaks and troughs and all this. But watching it in isolation for this, I just had a fucking great time. I was like, this is really enjoyable. It's, as I say, it's more than the sum of its parts. I think Price is quite good. I think
he is good, but I think maybe he's doing exactly as he was directed, or maybe he needed a stronger director to really
or the writing sometimes or whatever. But as I said, I think some of it might.
Because for me, we're about to get onto non-submersible units.
Yes.
Now, for me, a general rule of thumb for given the context we use them, it's the villain every time, or at least it should be.
Yes.
In this case, it's very much not.
Yeah, you wouldn't put him as a non-submersible unit.
Like for me, we just get into it. Non-submersible unit for me is Michelle Yeoh. Because it's the first time I ever experienced a young one or a woman that was actually given a young one. A young Michelle Yeoh. But it's the first time that I'd ever seen it in a James Bond film where they're actually really given something to do.
Yeah.
And at times, James Bond is playing second fiddle to it.
Fair play, yeah. I would say somebody who's grown up with it, the BMW scene in the car park.
Yeah.
That's just that. When I think of this film, I think of that. And that's what I mean when I say this is more of a, and I do not mean it as a slight at all. It's more of a kid's film, this. Like, kids could watch this. I could show this to my young one and she'd be like, yay. I'd show her Goldeneye and she'd be like, what the fuck is all this shit? Oh. Which is to say, she's not correct, but I am saying this is more of like, it's a flashier film, which is appropriate for James Bond and makes it more enjoyable. Yeah. It's a very enjoyable film, yeah. And as I have watched it so many times over the years, something stands up about it. And I find Brosnan an underrated actor in general. Yeah.
Now, I'm just looking at the Laserdisc cover here, and Michelle Yeoh seems to be wearing some leather PVC yoke or whatever. I don't think she's wearing that in the film.
No, well, she does. And Brosnan is wearing, this is controversial as well, he's wearing a black shirt with a black suit, which is a gentleman would never do. I'm reliably told. Yeah, this is another thing people harp on, and the fashions of this are very good. He was always very stylish. I do think this is controversial. I find Daniel Craig to be the guy. I look at his outfits and go like, yeah, that's actually pretty great. Like Brosnan looked great. Roger Moore just, especially towards the end, like he just looked like your granddad or something was dressed in it. He was in it. And he was, it was a different age. Like he wasn't much older than Craig was in the last one, but he just looked so much older. It was a different.
It's a different time. Like you see what 35-year-olds look like in the 80s.
I know. Yeah,
like,
I hate to knock him because I do still have a lot of affection for him as James Bond. But like, there's a bit in his last one, A View to a Kill, where he's at the races with like Q and Moneypenny, and they just look like a bunch of pensioners out there. Like the way they're like at horse racing, it just seemed like.
Now it should be pointed out here.
Yes.
Because this is very important. We actually skipped over this, but...
Oh, no.
No, it's not nothing major. It's just, I always found it very funny because basically what the film's getting at is once Carver's dead, then turns around and says, Moneypenny, release this to the media. Elliot Carver was on his yacht. So it's like, it's okay when the government or the establishment control the media, but we can't let those pesky billionaires control it. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of it, you're celebrating it because you're lying to your teeth then. Do you know what I mean?
And isn't that how like Rupert Murdoch died or something like that? The way the story Murdoch, she reads
he's still alive?
No, I'm a mix up. No, sorry, fuck me. Yeah, he is. There was some guy called Maxwell or something in the 90s. I remember he was I think it was a media guy, and I think it was kind of a play on that. Yeah. Sorry, Rupert. I think it was Robert Maxwell was the guy's name. Don't hold me.
No, Robert Maxwell is Ghislaine Maxwell's father.
We'll be right back. Redacted. It's all been redacted. Anyway, someone look it up and tell me who the fuck I'm thinking of, because I think that's a play on how some famous guy died or something like that. The story she gives her. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. It's like
it's okay for the government to control.
Well, it is a weirdly cynical note. I always read that as like a cynical thing of like, well, we play the game too or something. Which, I hadn't really considered it, but it's not.
Real Britannia. Yeah, that's all.
We're proud.
No star rating.
I'd give this a 4 out of 5. I would say. I nearly said 4.5, but I'm happy with a 4.
3.5.
3.5.
I wouldn't say a good 3.5. I think it's fair 3.5.
I'd be curious. Guys, should we cover more Bond films? I think there's a lot to say about some of them. So there's a few of them that I think you'd be kind of wasting your time if we talked about them. But there's a few with interesting stuff going on in them that they were trying to do, like some of the more kind of obscure, like you say, A View to a Kill. I find fascinating for the fact he's so old, and Walken plays it like, look at this fucking guy. He's nearly winking at the audience, like, look at this fucking gobshite. There's some interesting stuff in a lot of them that's worth kind of talking about. So if that's something you'd like to see, guys, let us know. Sign off in the comments. Which one would you like us to talk about? And what is your take on the post-imperial nature
of James Bond? So on that bombshell, we bid you adieu for another week. We'll be back next week. Follow, like, subscribe. Why is it not just follow and everything? Like, why did they have to make me say something different?
Oh, it's terrible, yeah.
I know. Well, anyway, so do all that type of good stuff on socials. It really helps. And word of mouth. If you do listen to this, tell a friend. That's
Please, all we ask.
That's
We
how
don't
all
ask
the
so
best podcasts grow.
Thanks, guys.
All right, cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.